Captain Marcus Kane stood at attention as the howls pierced the royal gardens. 3 alpha cubs from the Shadowmere pack lay motionless on the pristine marble floor of the palace receiving hall, their fur matted with crimson. Queen Helena Morrison knelt beside the smallest cub, her hands trembling as she pressed gauze against a gaping wound on its chest. The pack leader, Fenris Nightclaw, paced behind the ornate pillars, his massive frame casting shadows across the room. His pack members flanked him, their eyes burning with barely contained rage. The scent of their fury filled the air thick enough to taste. Marcus had served Queen Helena for 8 years. He knew her heart, her strengths, her weaknesses. Right now she was making a critical mistake that could cost them everything. "Your Majesty," Marcus said quietly, "the Pack Council is arriving." Helena didn't look up from the wounded cub. Blood soaked through her royal blue dress as she applied pressure to the injury. "This one is barely breathing. We need the medical team now." Fenris stopped pacing. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "Your human doctors will not touch our young." "They're dying," Helena said, her voice cracking. "Please." The throne room doors burst open. Elder wolves flooded in, their ancient eyes scanning the scene. Marcus counted 12 pack leaders, each representing a different clan. Political weight of this moment crashed down on him like a falling mountain. Elder Morvain, silver-furred and centuries old, approached the queen. "Human ruler, explain why our cubs lie broken in your halls." Helena finally looked up, her face pale but determined. "They were playing in the restricted wing." "The security system activated automatically. It wasn't supposed to happen." "Wasn't supposed to happen." Fenris spat the words like poison. "Your technology nearly killed 3 innocent pups." Marcus stepped closer to his queen, his hand instinctively moving toward his ceremonial sword, not to draw it but to feel its weight. The pack leaders noticed the gesture immediately. "Easy, guard dog," Elder Morvain growled. "We seek answers, not conflict." The smallest cub whimpered, a sound that cut through Marcus like a blade. Helena's composure shattered completely. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she cradled the wounded pup. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Fenris roared, a sound that shook the crystal chandeliers. "Sorry doesn't heal broken bones. Sorry doesn't stop the bleeding." Marcus watched the pack leaders exchange glances. He could read the situation like a tactical map. They were deciding whether to declare war or demand retribution. Either option would destroy the fragile peace treaty that had taken decades to build. "What do you want?" Helena asked, still holding the injured cub. Elder Morvain's yellow eyes gleamed. "Justice and compensation. Name it." "Your crown," Fenris snarled. "Step down. Let someone with sense rule this kingdom." Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. Queen Helena was the first human ruler to establish genuine peace with the wolf packs. Her abdication would trigger chaos across 3 kingdoms. "That's not your decision to make," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the tension. Fenris turned his attention to the captain. "Speaking for your master, little soldier? Speaking the truth. The queen made a mistake, but she's trying to fix it. That counts for something." "Does it count for 3 dying cubs?" Elder Morvain asked. The medical team arrived, led by Dr. Patricia Reeves and her assistant. They carried emergency equipment designed specifically for treating wolf physiology. Helena had insisted on cross-species medical training after the peace accords. "We can help them," Dr. Reeves said, approaching cautiously. "But we need permission from the pack." Fenris blocked their path. "No human hands touch pack young." "Then they'll die," Helena said, standing slowly. Blood stained her dress and hands. "Is your pride worth their lives?" The wounded cub made a sound between a whimper and a cry. Its breathing grew more labored with each passing second. Marcus watched Elder Morvain's expression change. The ancient wolf was caught between protocol and necessity, just like the queen. "If our healer fails," Elder Morvain said finally, "we will allow your doctors to try." Pack healer Senna rushed forward, her hands glowing with natural magic. She placed her palms over the wounded cub and closed her eyes. Minutes passed. The glow faded. She stepped back, shaking her head. "The injuries are too severe. The technology used metals that resist our healing magic." Dr. Reeves stepped forward. "We can fix this, but every second matters." Fenris looked at his dying packmate, then at the human queen covered in the cub's blood. If you fail, if even one cub dies, this treaty ends tonight. Your kingdom burns. Helena nodded. I understand. Marcus felt the weight of history settling on his shoulders. Everything they had worked for hung in the balance, dependent on the skill of human doctors and the fragile trust between species. Dr. Reeves and her team moved with practiced efficiency. The first surgery began immediately on the throne room floor, surrounded by wolves whose eyes promised destruction if their young didn't survive. Dr. Reeves worked with surgical precision while the pack leaders formed a circle around the makeshift operating area. Marcus positioned himself between the medical team and the most aggressive wolves, ready to intervene if tensions escalated beyond words. The smallest cub's heartbeat flickered on the portable monitor. Its chest rose and fell in shallow, irregular patterns that made everyone in the room hold their breath. Queen Helena knelt beside Dr. Reeves, holding instruments and applying pressure where directed. Her royal protocols meant nothing here. Only the life hanging by threads between her blood-stained fingers mattered. Punctured lung, severed artery, possible internal bleeding, Dr. Reeves murmured, her hands moving swiftly inside the tiny chest cavity. Patricia, I need the microsutures. Helena grabbed the requested supplies without hesitation. Her hands remained steady despite the emotional storm raging behind her eyes. Fenris paced in tight circles, his claws scraping against marble with each step. How many minutes has it been? 7, Marcus answered, though nobody had asked him. Elder Morvain watched the surgery with ancient eyes that had witnessed countless battles and treaties. In my 4 centuries, I've never seen a human ruler shed blood for pack young. Times change, Helena said softly, not looking up from her task. Do they? Elder Morvain's voice carried weight beyond his words. When this crisis ends, what happens to our treaty? Do you think our people will forget this day? Marcus understood the deeper question. Political alliances survived on trust, but they thrived on perception. The image of their queen covered in wolf blood fighting to save pack young would either strengthen their bond or be seen as weakness by both sides. The second cub stirred, its injuries less severe than its packmate. Dr. Reeves had already stabilized the third, whose broken bones would heal with time and proper care. But the smallest cub remained critical. Heart rate dropping, announced Patricia, monitoring the vital signs. We're losing him. Helena's composure cracked. A sob escaped her throat before she could stop it. Fenris stopped pacing. What does that mean? It means we need to try something risky, Dr. Reeves said, her voice tight with concentration. Experimental treatment. There's no guarantee. Do it, Elder Morvain commanded. The process might cause permanent changes to his physiology. He might not be fully wolf anymore. Silence filled the throne room like lead. Marcus felt the political implications crashing down around them. A hybrid cub would face rejection from both species. What kind of changes? Helena asked. Enhanced healing, possibly extended lifespan, maybe some human characteristics. We don't know for certain. Fenris growled low in his throat. You want to make him into some kind of monster? I want to save his life, Dr. Reeves replied firmly. That's my only priority right now. The cub's breathing grew more shallow. The monitor's beeping slowed to an ominous rhythm that everyone recognized as approaching death. Elder Morvain looked at the dying young wolf, then at Queen Helena's blood-stained hands. What would you do if this was your own child? Helena didn't hesitate. Everything possible, even if it changed them forever. Especially then. Fenris snarled his frustration. Easy words when it's not your pack paying the price. Marcus stepped forward. The queen's already paying a price. Look at her. Everyone turned to Helena, who knelt in a pool of blood with tears cutting tracks through the grime on her cheeks. Her royal bearing had disappeared, replaced by raw maternal instinct that transcended species boundaries. She's ruined her dress, Fenris said mockingly. She's ruined her political career, Marcus corrected. Half the noble houses will call her weak for kneeling before wolves. The other half will call her reckless for risking war over an accident. Elder Morvain tilted his head thoughtfully, and yet she remains here, covered in our young one's blood. The monitor's alarm sounded. The cub's heart had stopped. Dr. Reeves immediately began chest compressions, her hands pumping rhythmically on the tiny ribcage. Patricia, prepare the experimental serum. Doctor, Patricia whispered urgently. Are you certain? No, Doctor, Reeves admitted. But certain death isn't better than uncertain life. Helena placed her hand over Dr. Reeves's, helping with the compressions. Their combined efforts kept blood flowing through the cub's motionless body. Fenris's rage transformed into something deeper and more dangerous: despair. Elder Morvayn spoke quietly to the other pack leaders in their ancient tongue. Marcus couldn't understand the words, but their expressions told him everything. They were preparing for the worst possible outcome. How long do we have? Helena asked. Minutes, Dr. Reeves said. Maybe less. The Queen looked directly at Elder Morvayn. Give us permission to try the experimental treatment, please. And if he becomes something neither human nor wolf, what then? Then he lives, Helena said simply. And we figure out the rest together. The experimental serum shimmered with an odd blue light that seemed almost alive. Patricia held the syringe with trembling hands, while Dr. Reeves continued chest compressions. Your choice, Honored Elder, Dr. Reeves said. We inject now or we lose him forever. Elder Morvayn closed his ancient eyes. Marcus could see the weight of centuries pressing down on the old wolf's shoulders as he made a decision that would ripple through history. The throne room held its breath. Even the other cubs, injured but conscious, watched in silence as their elder grappled with an impossible choice between certain death and uncertain transformation. Finally, Elder Morvayn opened his eyes and nodded once. Dr. Reeves injected the serum directly into the cub's heart. Helena continued compressions while everyone waited for some sign of life to return to the small body between them. Seconds stretched into eternity. The monitor remained flat, showing no heartbeat, no brain activity, no responses to the experimental treatment. Then, slowly, a single beep echoed through the chamber. The serum spread through the cub's bloodstream like liquid starlight, visible beneath his fur as veins of blue light that pulsed with each returning heartbeat. His breathing resumed, stronger than before. His eyes fluttered open, revealing irises that now held flecks of human blue mixed with natural wolf gold. Dr. Reeves sat back on her heels, exhausted but relieved. Vitals are stabilizing. He's going to live. Helena collapsed beside the now breathing cub, her strength finally giving out. Marcus moved to support her, but she waved him away. She needed this moment to process what they had all just witnessed. The transformed cub looked up at Queen Helena with those strange new eyes and made a sound no wolf had ever made before. It wasn't quite a whimper or a purr, but something entirely new that spoke of gratitude beyond language. Fenris approached slowly, his anger replaced by wonder and concern. What has he become? Something unprecedented, Elder Morvayn said softly. Neither fully wolf nor human, but alive. The other pack leaders gathered around their transformed young one, touching him gently with their noses and paws. He responded to their attention normally, still recognizably pack despite his changed nature. But when Helena reached out her hand, something remarkable happened. The cub's new hybrid consciousness bridged the gap between species in ways no one had imagined possible. He nuzzled her palm, and both human and all wolves present felt a moment of perfect understanding pass between them. Marcus realized they had just witnessed the birth of something that would change both their species forever. This wasn't just a medical miracle or successful treatment. This was evolution happening in real time, facilitated by necessity and compassion. What do we call him? Helena asked, gently stroking the cub's transformed fur. Elder Morvayn considered the question carefully. Names held power in pack culture, especially for one so fundamentally changed. Bridge, Fenris said quietly. His name should be Bridge. The transformed cub responded to his new name with that unique sound again, neither fully wolf nor human, but altogether his own. Dr. Reeves began packing her equipment while Patricia checked on the other two cubs, who were recovering well from their injuries. The immediate medical crisis had passed, but everyone understood that the political crisis was just beginning. The noble houses will demand explanations, Marcus warned. Helena, we'll want to know why you risked everything for wolf cubs. Helena looked down at Bridge, who had fallen asleep in her lap despite his transformation. Let them demand whatever they want. Some things matter more than politics. Elder Morvain approached the Queen with newfound respect evident in his bearing. Human ruler, today you have shown us something we did not expect. Compassion without calculation. Sacrifice without guarantee of return. I showed you what any parent would do, Helena replied simply. No, Fenris corrected her. You showed us what a true leader does. The pack leader's change in tone surprised everyone. Marcus had expected continued hostility, not acknowledgement of his queen's character. The Pack Council will remember this day, Elder Morvain announced formally. Queen Helena Morrison, you have earned blood debt honor. This bond cannot be broken by politics or time. Marcus understood the significance immediately. Blood debt honor was the highest recognition wolves could bestow on another species. It meant eternal alliance, regardless of political changes or future conflicts. Helena shifted carefully to avoid disturbing the sleeping Bridge. What happens now? He can't live fully in either world. Then we create a new world, Elder Morvain said. One where transformed young like Bridge can exist without shame or fear. The other pack leaders nodded agreement. Marcus realized they were witnessing the foundation of something unprecedented. A formal alliance based not on treaties or mutual benefit, but on shared responsibility for a hybrid child who belonged to both species and neither.
The Royal Council will resist this arrangement, Marcus warned.
They barely tolerate the existing peace treaty. Helena's expression hardened with determination. Then they'll learn to do more than tolerate. This is no longer about maintaining peace. This is about protecting family. Bridge stirred in her lap, his hybrid eyes opening to look up at the human queen who had saved his life. In that moment, everyone present understood that their worlds had changed irrevocably. The future now belonged to builders of bridges between species, not defenders of ancient divisions, and it had begun with a dying cub, a blood-stained queen, and the experimental serum that created something entirely new. Marcus watched his queen cradle the transformed pup and realized his job description had just expanded beyond protecting her physical safety. Now he needed to protect the revolutionary future she had accidentally created by refusing to let a young wolf die on her watch. The transformation was complete, but the real work was just beginning. 3 weeks after Bridge's transformation, Queen Helena stood in the newly constructed Harmony Wing of the Royal Palace. The specialized facility had been designed to accommodate both human and wolf physiology, featuring adjustable lighting, temperature controls, and spaces that could be quickly modified for different species' needs. Bridge bounded between his multiple caregivers with energy that surprised everyone. Dr. Reeves monitored his development daily, documenting changes that defied every medical textbook. His healing rate exceeded normal wolf standards, while his cognitive development showed distinctly human characteristics. Marcus watched from his position near the doorway as Helena supervised Bridge's afternoon training session. The young hybrid was learning to navigate both human technology and wolf pack dynamics, a balancing act that required careful guidance from both species. His language comprehension is remarkable, Dr. Patricia Reeves noted, updating her research files. He understands complex human speech while maintaining full wolf pack communication abilities. Fenris approached the observation window, his initial hostility replaced by protective concern. The other cubs accept him completely. His transformation hasn't changed his place in pack hierarchy. Elder Morvain joined them, his ancient eyes following Bridge's interactions with both human and wolf companions. He represents something we never imagined possible, true integration instead of mere coexistence. The political ramifications had been swift and predictable. 3 noble houses formally protested Queen Helena's decision to house Wolf Young in the royal palace. 2 others threatened to withdraw support for the peace treaty. The Royal Council demanded daily meetings to address the unprecedented situation. Helena had attended every meeting with Bridge at her side, refusing to hide their new reality behind closed doors. The sight of the hybrid cub playing quietly during political discussions had initially outraged conservative council members, but gradually their resistance softened as they witnessed his remarkable intelligence and gentle nature. Marcus had watched the transformation of attitudes with professional interest. Fear naturally gave way to curiosity when faced with innocence rather than threat. The border territories are requesting similar medical protocols, Helena announced to the assembled group. 3 other packs want access to the hybrid transformation process. Marcus felt his protective instincts sharpen immediately. Your Majesty, we don't know the long-term consequences yet. Bridge is still adapting to his changes, which is exactly why we need controlled research, Doctor. Reeves interjected. Bridge can't be the only one of his kind. Social isolation would damage his development. Fenris growled softly, not in anger but in contemplation. Creating more hybrids means creating a new subspecies. The implications stretch beyond our immediate concerns. Elder Morvain nodded gravely. A bridge requires 2 solid foundations. Bridge himself is stable, but what happens when there are dozens like him? Or hundreds? The question hung in the air like a challenge to their collective imagination. Marcus realized they were discussing the deliberate creation of an entirely new category of citizen, one that would require new laws, new social structures, and new definitions of identity. Bridge suddenly appeared at Helena's side, having approached with the silent grace characteristic of his wolf nature. He placed a small, carved wooden figure on the table between the adults. His hybrid dexterity allowed him to create art that neither purely human nor purely wolf children could achieve at his age. What is it, sweetheart? Helena asked gently. Bridge made his unique communication sound, then pointed to each adult in turn before gesturing to the wooden figure. The carving depicted multiple species standing together in a circle, their forms interlinked in ways that suggested unity rather than hierarchy. Marcus studied the artwork with growing amazement. The young hybrid had created a visual representation of the future he wanted to see. True integration between species rather than separation or dominance. He's telling us what he needs, Helena realized. Others like himself. A community where being hybrid is normal, not exceptional. Dr. Reeves knelt beside Bridge, examining the carving more closely. The detail work is extraordinary. His enhanced physiology includes improved fine motor control and spatial reasoning. More than that, Fenris observed. He's showing strategic thinking. This artwork isn't just expression, it's a proposal. Elder Morvain approached Bridge directly, speaking in a gentle tone reserved for Pack Young. Little one, do you understand the complexity of what you're suggesting? Bridge tilted his head in a distinctly wolf-like gesture, then spoke his first clear human words, family bigger. The simple statement struck everyone silent. Marcus felt the emotional weight of those 2 words settle over the room like a blanket of responsibility. Helena placed her hand on Bridge's head, her expression soft but determined. He's right. Families should be bigger. Your Majesty, Marcus said carefully. Expanding the hybrid program means committing resources and political capital we might not be able to sustain. It also means fulfilling a promise, Helena replied. We saved his life by transforming him. Now we need to ensure he has a life worth living. Fenris stepped forward, his massive frame casting shadows across the table. The Pack Council has discussed this possibility extensively. We're prepared to provide candidates for voluntary transformation. Voluntary? Dr. Reeves asked sharply. We're talking about permanently altering young wolves. With full consent from their families and pack leaders, Elder Morvain clarified. No one would be forced into transformation. Marcus considered the security implications of deliberately creating a population of enhanced hybrids. Their increased capabilities could be viewed as threatening by other kingdoms or conservative factions within their own territory. But watching Bridge interact with both human and wolf companions with equal ease, Marcus began to see possibilities rather than just problems. These hybrids could serve as natural ambassadors between species, living proof that integration wasn't just possible but beneficial. We need strict protocols, Helena decided. Medical oversight, psychological evaluation, family counseling, and long-term support systems. Dr. Davy, Reeves nodded enthusiastically. I can develop comprehensive screening procedures. We need to ensure every candidate understands the permanent nature of the transformation. How many volunteers do we expect? Helena asked. Elder Morvain. Initially, perhaps 6 to 8 young wolves from families who have observed Bridge's development closely. Their parents see the advantages rather than just the risks. Marcus felt the scope of their project expanding exponentially. 8 hybrid children would require dedicated facilities, specialized education, unique legal protections, and careful integration into both human and wolf societies. But Bridge made his communication sound again, this time with obvious excitement. He had been listening to every word, understanding the implications of their discussion and expressing approval for their plans. "He's voting yes," Helena said with a small smile. "I think that settles the matter." Elder Morvain bowed formally to the Queen. "Then let us begin building the future our young one has envisioned." Marcus positioned himself closer to Helena as the meeting evolved into detailed planning. His role was expanding beyond personal protection into safeguarding an entire revolutionary movement. The hybrid program would face opposition from multiple directions, requiring vigilance that extended far beyond the palace walls. Bridge climbed into Helena's lap, settling against her with complete trust. His transformed nature allowed him to offer comfort in ways that transcended species barriers, providing emotional support through his unique combination of human empathy and wolf loyalty. As the adults continued planning around him, Bridge returned to his carving, adding small details that represented the specific individuals he had come to love. Helena appeared as a figure with outstretched arms, Marcus as a guardian standing protectively nearby, Fenris as a powerful presence providing strength, and Elder Morvain as a wise counselor offering guidance. The young hybrid was documenting his family, both biological and chosen, creating a permanent record of the bonds that had made his transformation possible. His artwork captured something profound about hope, love, and the courage required to build bridges between different worlds. Marcus watched Bridge work and realized they weren't just creating a program for hybrid children, they were pioneering a new form of civilization, one where differences became strengths rather than sources of conflict. The real transformation was just beginning, and its success depended on their willingness to embrace change as naturally as the young hybrid in Helena's arms had embraced his new nature. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the ceremonial courtyard watching 12 hybrid children play together in the afternoon sunlight. Their game seamlessly blended human creativity with wolfpack dynamics, creating entirely new forms of social interaction that fascinated researchers from 3 kingdoms. Bridge had become the unofficial leader of the group, his seniority giving him natural authority among the newer hybrids. His artistic talents had evolved into storytelling ability that helped younger children process their transformations and adapt to their enhanced capabilities. Queen Helena appeared at Marcus's side, her attention focused on the children with maternal pride that transcended biological bonds. Dr. Reeves says their development continues to exceed every projection. Intelligence, empathy, physical coordination, and social integration. Marcus recited the metrics he had memorized from weekly briefings. They're not just surviving the transformation, they're thriving because of it. The hybrid program had attracted international attention, drawing delegations from neighboring kingdoms who wanted to understand the implications of deliberate species integration. Some came with genuine curiosity, others with skepticism or barely concealed hostility. The Meridian ambassador arrives tomorrow, Helena mentioned. He's brought their top military advisors. Marcus felt his protective instincts sharpen. The Kingdom of Meridian had always viewed the wolf packs as potential threats rather than allies. Their sudden interest in hybrid children suggested concern about enhanced capabilities being used for military purposes. "Do you want me to arrange a private meeting first?" Marcus asked. "No," Helena decided. "Let them see the children immediately. Transparency works better than diplomacy when you're trying to prove peaceful intentions." Bridge noticed the adults watching and approached with the confident stride that characterized all hybrid children. His transformation had been the prototype, but the others had benefited from refined procedures and improved support systems. "Aunt Helena," he said, using the title that all hybrid children had adopted for the Queen. "May we show the visitors our poetry tomorrow?" Marcus smiled despite himself. Battle-hardened military advisors being presented with children's poetry would certainly challenge their preconceptions about hybrid threatening capabilities. "Of course, sweetheart. Which poems did you want to share?" "The ones about building instead of breaking," Bridge replied seriously, "and the ones about families that grow bigger and stronger when different kinds of people love each other." Helena's composure wavered slightly. 6 months of nurturing these children had changed her as much as it had changed them. Her political calculations now naturally included their welfare as a primary consideration. Elder Morvain emerged from the hybrid education building, his ancient features showing approval as he observed the children's activities. The Pack Council had officially designated him as liaison between Wolf Society and the hybrid program, a role that required him to spend most of his time in the palace. The young ones have requested Pack ceremony participation, he informed Helena. They want full recognition as both human and wolf citizens. Marcus understood the political significance immediately. Formal Pack recognition would establish legal precedent for hybrid rights, creating protections that extended beyond royal decree into traditional wolf law. What does Pack ceremony involve? Helena asked. Ritual, scarification, Pack scent marking, formal presentation to all clan leaders, and oath swearing that binds them to Pack protection permanently. Scarification. Helena's protective instincts flared visibly. Fenris approached from the training grounds where he had been working with older hybrid children on advanced physical coordination, sacred markings that identify Pack membership. The process involves minimal discomfort and creates permanent ward protections. Bridge looked up at the adults with those distinctive dual-colored eyes that marked all hybrid children. We want to belong everywhere, not nowhere. The simple statement cut directly to the heart of their identity challenge. These children existed between worlds, and they needed formal recognition from both species to develop healthy self-concepts. Marcus considered the security implications of Pack ceremony. Formal wolf recognition would strengthen hybrid legal protections, but it might also trigger backlash from human nobles who preferred maintaining species separation. When would this ceremony take place? Helena asked. Traditionally at the autumn gathering, Elder Morvain explained. All Pack leaders attend to witness new recognitions. That's 3 weeks away, Marcus calculated. Enough time to prepare proper security arrangements. Doctor, Reeves joined their discussion, carrying files that documented the children's latest developmental assessments. Their psychological profiles show remarkable stability. The identity integration process has been more successful than we projected. Because they're not trying to choose between species, Helena realized. They're creating something entirely new. Bridge tugged on her sleeve to get attention. May I ask you something, grown-up? Always, sweetheart. When people are afraid of us, how do we show them we're still good? The question revealed the sophisticated understanding these children had developed regarding their position in society. They were aware of the political tensions surrounding their existence, but approached those challenges with curiosity rather than fear. Helena knelt to Bridge's eye level, the same way you've always shown goodness, through kindness, creativity, and helping others. Even when they don't want help because we're different? Marcus felt his heart constrict at the wisdom embedded in that question. These children had inherited the burden of representing an entirely new category of existence, carrying expectations and prejudices they had never chosen. Especially then, Helena answered firmly. That's when kindness matters most. Fenris crouched beside them, his massive frame somehow gentle in proximity to the small hybrid. In Pack law, worth is proven through actions over time. Your worth has already been proven, Little Bridge. Elder Morvain nodded agreement. The Pack Council recognizes all hybrid young as full members regardless of ceremony. The ritual simply makes it official. Bridge brightened considerably. So we belong already? You've always belonged, Helena said softly. Now we're just making sure everyone else understands that. The other hybrid children had gradually gathered around their conversation, drawn by their natural curiosity and enhanced hearing capabilities. They listened with the focused attention characteristic of their enhanced cognitive abilities. Will ceremony make us more wolf? Asked Hazel, one of the newer hybrids whose transformation had been particularly smooth. It will make you more yourself, Elder Morvain explained. Identity comes from understanding all parts of your nature. Marcus watched these children grapple with concepts that would challenge adult philosophers. Their enhanced capabilities included accelerated emotional intelligence that allowed them to process complex social dynamics with impressive sophistication. The Meridian delegation needs to see this conversation, Helena murmured to Marcus. This level of thoughtful integration. Marcus agreed. Military advisors expecting enhanced soldiers would instead encounter enhanced children whose primary concerns involved poetry, belonging, and showing kindness to those who feared them. Tomorrow will answer many questions, Elder Morvain observed, both theirs and ours. Bridge looked up at the adults surrounding him with complete trust in their ability to navigate the challenges ahead. His confidence radiated outward to the other hybrid children, creating a sense of security that allowed them to focus on growth rather than survival. Marcus realized they had successfully created something unprecedented, a community of transformed beings who viewed their differences as advantages rather than obstacles. The real test would be convincing the outside world to see them the same way. The ceremony preparations would begin immediately, but the foundation for success had already been established through months of patient nurturing, careful education, and unwavering commitment to treating these children as individuals rather than experiments. Tomorrow's diplomatic challenge would either validate their approach or force them to defend it. Either way, Marcus was prepared to stand between his queen and anyone who threatened the family she had built from necessity, compassion, and revolutionary vision. The Meridian delegation arrived precisely at dawn, their formation suggesting military precision rather than diplomatic courtesy. Ambassador Grant Thornfield led 12 advisors whose bearing indicated extensive combat experience and tactical training. Marcus positioned himself strategically to observe their reactions while maintaining protective proximity to Queen Helena. The delegation expected to be escorted to formal meeting chambers. Instead, Helena led them directly to the hybrid children's morning assembly in the garden pavilion. Bridge and his companions were engaged in their daily coordination exercises, seamlessly blending human problem-solving techniques with wolf-pack communication patterns. Ambassador Thornfield stopped abruptly when he saw the children. His military advisors exchanged glances that suggested their intelligence reports had not prepared them for this reality. Your Majesty, Thornfield began carefully, we were expecting to discuss strategic implications of enhanced beings. You are, Helena, enhanced beings with homework assignments and favorite breakfast foods. Bridge approached the visitors with the diplomatic instincts that characterized all hybrid children. His enhanced empathy allowed him to read emotional states with remarkable accuracy, giving him natural advantages in cross-cultural communication. Welcome to our home, Bridge said formally, offering a greeting that blended human politeness with wolf-pack acknowledgement rituals. Would you like to see what we've been learning? Colonel Martha Hayes, the senior military advisor, knelt to Bridge's eye level with professional interest. What kind of learning? History, mathematics, artistic expression, pack dynamics, ethical reasoning, and integration theory, Bridge recited proudly. Today we're studying how different kingdoms solve problems together. Marcus watched Colonel Hayes' expression change from skepticism to genuine curiosity. Military professionals appreciated competence regardless of its source, and these children demonstrated capabilities that impressed rather than threatened. Integration theory? Ambassador Thornfield inquired. Hazel stepped forward, confident in her knowledge. How to build bridges between different groups of people so everyone benefits instead of fighting. Elder Morvain appeared at Helena's side, his ancient presence adding weight to the demonstration. The young ones have developed diplomatic frameworks that exceed adult theoretical models. Dr. Reeves approached with educational materials that documented the children's academic progress. Their enhanced cognitive abilities include accelerated pattern recognition and emotional intelligence. They naturally excel at conflict resolution. Bridge gestured toward a large display board covered with the children's artwork and written projects. These are our peace plans for 16 different kingdom disputes. We study real problems and design solutions. Colonel Hayes examined the display with growing amazement. The hybrid children had analyzed complex political situations and proposed resolution strategies that demonstrated sophisticated understanding of multiple perspectives. This approach to the northern trade conflict, Colonel Hayes murmured, pointing to one detailed proposal. It addresses economic, cultural, and territorial concerns simultaneously. We call it the everyone wins method, explained Kai, another hybrid whose transformation had enhanced his analytical capabilities. Fighting wastes resources that could be used for building better things. Ambassador Thornfield's official composure wavered as he processed the implications of children who naturally thought in terms of diplomatic solutions rather than military ones. Your Majesty, he said slowly, our intelligence reports suggested you were developing enhanced soldiers. Helena's expression hardened slightly. Our children are not soldiers. They're the next generation of peace builders. Marcus felt the political tension in the pavilion shift dramatically. The Meridian delegation had arrived expecting to assess military threats. Instead, they were encountering evidence of revolutionary approaches to international relations. The implications are still significant, Colonel Hayes pointed out. Enhanced capabilities in any form affect regional power balance. Fenris emerged from the education building with several older hybrid children who had been working on advanced projects. Their presence reinforced the message that this community was focused on growth and learning rather than warfare preparation. Pack Law recognizes these young ones as bridge builders, Fenris announced formally. Their purpose is connection, not conquest. Bridge approached Ambassador Thornfield with a handmade gift, a small wooden sculpture depicting figures from different species working together to construct a building. This is for you, Bridge said simply, to remember that different kinds of people can build amazing things when they help each other. The ambassador accepted the sculpture with visible emotion. Marcus realized that Bridge's natural empathy had identified exactly what this delegation needed to see, evidence of hope rather than threat. May I ask you a question? Colonel Hayes addressed Bridge directly. Of course. If your enhanced abilities could be used for fighting, why do you choose not to? Bridge considered the question with the seriousness it deserved. Because fighting breaks things and we like building things. Also, fighting makes people sad, and we don't like making people sad. The simplicity of his answer carried more weight than complex philosophical arguments. These children possess capabilities that could be weaponized, but their enhanced empathy naturally directed them toward constructive rather than destructive applications. Elder Morvain stepped forward to address the delegation formally. Honored visitors, you have witnessed the first generation of true integration between human and wolf societies. These young ones represent evolution toward cooperation rather than competition. Ambassador Thornfield studied the display of peace plans with growing respect. Your Majesty, would you consider sharing these integration methods with other kingdoms? Helena exchanged glances with Marcus, who nodded slightly. The question represented opportunity rather than threat. We're always willing to share knowledge that promotes peace, Helena replied diplomatically. These children's insights could benefit many communities. Dr. Reeves added practical considerations. The transformation process requires willing volunteers and extensive support systems. It's not something that can be implemented quickly or carelessly. We're not interested in the transformation itself, Colonel Hayes clarified. We're interested in their educational methods and problem-solving approaches. Bridge brightened with excitement. You want to learn our integration theory? We could teach you. The offer of children teaching military advisors created a moment of cognitive dissonance that Marcus found highly amusing. The traditional power dynamics were completely reversed in this situation. We would be honored to learn from your students, Ambassador Thornfield said formally, his diplomatic training helping him navigate this unprecedented situation. Helena smiled with genuine warmth. Then let's arrange an extended cultural exchange. Your delegation can observe our educational programs while our children learn about Meridian society. Marcus felt the political landscape shifting in real time. What had begun as a potential confrontation was evolving into collaborative opportunity, facilitated by hybrid children whose enhanced abilities included natural diplomacy. Elder Morvain announced the morning ceremony transition. The young ones will now demonstrate pack integration protocols followed by human civic engagement exercises. The hybrid children move seamlessly between activities, switching from wolf pack coordination to human parliamentary procedure without missing a beat. Their ability to function fluently in both cultural contexts impressed the Meridian delegation far more than pure physical enhancements would have. Remarkable, Colonel Hayes murmured to her colleagues. They're not just enhanced individuals, they're natural ambassadors. Bridge approached Queen Helena with a request that demonstrated his growing leadership abilities. Aunt Helena, may we invite the visitors to participate in our afternoon project? What project is that, sweetheart? We're designing a playground that works for human children, wolf cubs, and hybrid children all together. Everyone should be able to play safely in the same space. Ambassador Thornfield looked genuinely moved by the invitation. We would be honored to contribute to such a project. Marcus watched the transformation of an official diplomatic visit into a collaborative community engagement. The hybrid children had accomplished more effective diplomacy in one morning than most professional ambassadors achieved in months of formal negotiations. The future these children represented wasn't just about enhanced abilities or species integration. It was about fundamentally different approaches to human interaction based on empathy, creativity, and the radical notion that differences could strengthen communities rather than threaten them. As the delegation settled in to work alongside the children, Marcus realized his protection duties had expanded again. He wasn't just safeguarding individuals, he was protecting a vision of the future that could transform international relations across multiple kingdoms. The revolution would be gentle, led by children whose enhanced capacity for love,